Do you think Wall Street, when they make that 5.6% per year, 5.8% per year off of your money, do you think they're putting it all in a 401k for later also? No, they're taking it. They're building life today. They're living lives of abundance and prosperity in all dynamics, all areas today. So I want to talk to you again about becoming your own banker. Now, this has been my message and my story. I grew up very low income. Like I never had any inkling of the fact that I could build wealth or build financial independence. And when I finally learned, like you could, like there's ways to like earn income and there's ways to save and there's ways to invest. I finally had access to that information and I jumped on it, right? So I became a licensed financial advisor and I figured, the best way to like learn this is to do it as a profession. Right? And I've always been all in on everything I've ever done. If you're like that, that's really who I'm addressing this to. You're someone that, when you do something, you go all the way, right? When I was in middle school, I wanted to be, great on the basketball team. I would do 500 shots a day. That was what I would do in 7th, 8th grade on my own origination. It wasn't I had a coach telling me to do that. I just wanted to do that because I wanted to get really good at something that mattered to me. Okay. Now I want to point out that finances, it's an area that should matter to all of us. It's right up there with oxygen. It's right up there with gravity. It's right up there with needing to eat every day. It's right up there with needing to sleep. And I would actually say it's senior to some of those things because if you don't have it, what are you going to eat and where are you going to sleep? Right? We've got to have our money figured out. So when I started to learn about money at a young age, 18, 19 years old, I got licensed. I became a financial advisor. One of my first clients was my mom. Right? And I think she actually was my first client. And so I helped her with her retirement. And the old adage is like you build up your nest egg and you save until you're 60. And then when you're 59 and a half, you finally can pull the money out that you've worked so hard for. And we basically spend, 40 years in a career setting money aside to build up this nest egg. And so I was working with my mom for a number of years and I helped her build up her retirement accounts and we did all the right things. And, she had sold a house and had some money and we invested some of that. We'd meet every quarter, every 6 months and go over her statements. And she was making money on paper, right? Now, what happened was at age 60, she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, right? Now, on top of that, she passed away 6 months later. So she was diagnosed at age 60 and she passed away from cancer at age 60 and she never got to use the retirement she built up. She spent her entire life doing all the right things, following all the things you're supposed to do, saving, putting money towards Social Security, paying the mortgage, paying off the car, setting aside whatever she could, putting money into an investment. And when she finally got the age where you're supposed to be able to enjoy those things, she didn't last that long, right? And so with retirement, there's two problems, right? Either you follow all the rules and you either outlive your money, meaning you didn't put quite enough aside. And right now that's over 2/3 of Americans. And that means that you're going to have your money run out before your life does. And that's where you're going to be the guy that passes out stickers at the Walmart entrance when you're 76 years old, right? So that's the first problem. The second problem is you actually succeed. Next, I don't want to interrupt you too long. I just want to give you a free offer for my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. If you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get the book now. I'm going to let you get back to the video. Right? It's never good when the problem is the goal. What do I mean by that? My mom succeeded. She did not outlive her money. Factually, she did not outlive her money. Her money outlived her. The problem was it was by too great of a margin. She got to retirement age and lasted 6 months. The money stayed, she didn't, and she never got to enjoy it. So there's this problem of like putting life off. And so what I want to talk today about is I want to talk to you about how to build wealth now, right? Build wealth now. So I want you to think about one main thing. Where do you put your money? When you're trying to build wealth, where do you put it? Okay, the first place you probably put it is a 401k. Right? Now, I want you to think about what happens when you put your money in a 401k. Well, you're deferring it. It's literally a 401k. It's called a deferred compensation plan. Right? Let's just do some basic word clearing here. What does deferred mean? It means to put off till later. What does compensation mean? It's the condition of being paid for work. So you did work and you're saying, pay me later. Right? That's why you're not paying taxes, because you didn't receive the money. Right? If you receive the money, you're going to pay taxes on it. If you don't receive the money and you tell your company, put it in this account, don't pay it to me now, put it in there, let it wait till later, I'll pull it out when I'm 59 and a half, that's you being paid later. Right? Now, what happens during that period? The money goes into the stock market and you're hoping it grows and that it builds and it compounds. Here's the issue with that. A study was done by Dalbar, which is the #1 mutual fund rating agency on the planet. And they showed over a 30-year period, the average retail investor, that's you with your 401k plan, made about 4% per year after fees. Right now, you're asking me, Jerry, how is that possible? The stock market did way more than that. You're right. The stock market did 10% a year during that period. What the market did and what investors got is two different things. The market did 10, investors netted 4%. Now, why is that? Number one is volatility. When you lose money, it takes you more than twice to get back just to where you were. So if I have $10,000 and I gain a 50% return, it goes from 10 to 15. Awesome, very cool. I made $5,000. Now I lose 50%. Goes from $5,000 down to $7,500. Now I gain 50% again. Logic would be like, oh, my account's back up to where I was. No, 50% of $7,500 does not put you back at $15,000, right? 50% of $7,500, that's $3,250. So you have basically a little over 10 grand now. You don't have the 15. You didn't make back to where you were. So investors have volatility. And so what happens is it goes up and down and up and down, and investors don't know when to buy and sell. And that's why they say, oh, just hang on and it'll come up eventually, right? It's kind of like an airplane is crashing and they tell you don't jump out yet, right? Because they don't know yet if the pilot's going to fix it. Now, they don't know if the pilot will or won't. So they're just saying it's your risk. You might still die. The plane might still crash. But if you jump out now, you'll never know. Right? So you have this idea of volatility. The next one is fees. There's a group called Anderson Business Advisors. They're out of Las Vegas, Nevada. They did a test and they did a study on mutual fund fees. And they found that between all the fees and all the internal costs in a mutual fund, the average between fees, costs, taxes, money that can't be invested because it's got to stay aside in reserves, it costs the investor on average about 5.6 to 5.8% per year. So that's about 6%. So let me just show you my math. Dalbar says the average investor netted 4, but the market did 10. So the market does 10%. The average investor pays about 6% per year in fees. Isn't 10 minus 6, 4? That's why that happens, is you're paying volatility and fees. Now, what does this have to do with building wealth now? You can't touch that money till you're 59 and a half. Do you know what is happening? The only guarantee with that system is you will pay fees to Wall Street. Do you think Wall Street, when they make that 5.6% per year, 5.8% per year off of your money, do you think they're putting it all in a 401k for later also? No, they're taking it. They're building life today. They're living lives of abundance and prosperity in all dynamics, all areas today. Hey, what's up? Jerry here. I just wanted to give you another reminder. Grab my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's going to be one of the best books you have ever read on finance. I can promise you that. You're going to love it. It's also a free offer. So if you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get that now. I guarantee you Jamie Dimon enjoys his life now. Okay, I guarantee you the CEO of Bank of America and these Wall Street firms, American funds, I guarantee you that they take the money now and they live with their life now and they enjoy the money now. Do you see Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk putting everything off till they're 60? No, Jeff Bezos just bought a yacht that's so big that they're having to rebuild bridges so it can fit under because Jeff Bezos has wanted a yacht that big. That's stuff he's doing today, right? He's donating, he's buying other businesses. That's the way money was intended to be used. It was never intended for you to put it off till later. And I'm going to give you this example. Let's say I was going to put my money in a 401k plan or an IRA and wait till I'm 59 and a half like my mom did. Okay. Now, instead of it being this, let's talk about it as if it was a freezer. So I go to the store and I buy a loaf of bread and I buy a gallon of milk, right? And they have this magical freezer. And if I put my loaf of bread and gallon of milk in that freezer and I leave it there for the next 30 years, because that's about my time horizon is about 30 years. I leave it there for the next 30 years. The deal is that that loaf of bread and that gallon of milk will magically triple. I'll now have 3 loaves of bread and I'll have 3 gallons of milk, right? So I do that. I put my loaf of bread and I put my gallon of milk in the freezer. I let it sit there and it's doing its thing and 30 years go by. And sure enough, guys, I open up my freezer, right? And there's now 3 loaves of bread and there's now 3 gallons of milk in there. The exact thing that they said would happen happens, right? Now, the problem is I thaw out the milk and it's chunky. And I thaw out the bread and now it's freezer burned and I don't want to eat them anymore. I don't want to drink chunky milk. I don't want to eat freezer burned bread. And so yeah, they tripled, but it's not usable. That's what happens with your retirement account. What if you took that money and instead you put that into your own banking system, right? You put that into your own banking system. You start using it today where you can buy a dairy farm that produces milk for you for the rest of your life, or you can buy a bread factory and a bakery that bakes you fresh, delicious bread for the rest of your life. And you do that now. And now every single time you want that, it just happens because you made those investments in things that you can enjoy and use today, right? So money is meant to be used, not hoarded. And putting money in a retirement plan for 40 years is the definition of hoarding. And it's benefiting Wall Street, not you. And you're going to end up with your chunky milk and your stale bread and your freezer burned goods. And you're going to turn in retirement age and realize that it's not enough. It's not the life you thought. You're not enjoying it, right? Because your good years were now. When you're 30, 40, 50 years old and you have your family and you have your kids at home and you have your career and your aspirations and you can travel and you can hike and you could go on adventures, that's when you want to have wealth. I'm not saying don't have it when you're 60. I'm saying build it in a way where you have both, right? Have your cake and eat it too. Otherwise, what's the point of cake, right? If you can't have and eat the cake, why would you bake a cake in the first place? You're not going to eat it. You're just going to look at it, right? So that's what I want to go over today. Thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hey, this is Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%, I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.